but if not, then that'll just be blank. I'll put it in if it gets confirmed. Yes, this Thursday. All right, cool. Okay, bye. I'll stay here for moral support.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 77. Okay, cool. All right. I've got CR41 pulled up so I can see what you're seeing. Whenever we can just do the old classic. Whenever I pop up, I'll start talking if that works. Okay. Are you going to try to go on right at 9 or here in the next whatever time? Okay. Oh, cool. Okay. Cool. All right, good morning. It is right at 9:01 here as we are waking up to a stormy Monday morning across the area. My weather computer is getting its act together as we see these storms roll through the region this morning. The scattered storms have been much more widespread up on the North Shore and across the lake, really just on the lake itself. And then once you get to the South Shore, it hasn't been nearly as bad this morning, but we've had a couple showers and a couple storms trying to move on through. So we'll just start with the 7-day here as my graphics try to load themselves. The chance of rain very high this morning, and in fact, if you're not getting rain right now, there's still a chance that maybe you do get some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we go throughout the remainder of the morning up until around the midday hours. Now, the afternoon hours are trending drier. It looks like we will see things begin to taper off, and I think we're mostly dry this afternoon. Maybe 1 or 2 lingering showers across the region through the afternoon hours, but for the most part, we're not expecting anything significant by this afternoon. So when we, what we're looking here on radar this morning, and of course I come on and my computer's, it's thinking, it's doing the little hourglass spinning thing, so bear with me here as it continues to load itself. It's been pretty active this morning tracking these showers and storms across the North Shore. So far, we haven't had any significant reports of damage in our local area, but up around Baton Rouge, there was a wind gust reported there in Baton Rouge of about 80 miles an hour at 7:30 this morning. Now, luckily, the storms had lost a little bit of a punch by the time they moved into parts of the North Shore, but they still did produce some wind gusts across the area. And so that's what we've had the primary concern this morning. Now we're watching for heavy rain. As the intensity of these storms has been coming down, we're tracking that threat for street flooding. Now, I'm looking at radar here, and I promise my computer's trying to load. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, honestly. The heavy rain does continue across the North Shore at this hour. If you're in Slidell, the heavy rain's about to pick up. It is raining like crazy across the lake right now. I don't advise getting on the causeway at this exact moment, but I do think here in the next probably 20 to 30 minutes, the causeway will see improvements, but it is torrential rain right now across the bridge there. I-55 is seeing improvements as well. And then the I-10, the twin spans, that's not going to be a good drive either. So if you can put off your travel, if you're trying to cross the lake right now for maybe another 30 minutes to an hour, that would be your best bet. If not, you are going to be driving in the thick of all of this mess this morning. So what we're watching here are these heavy showers and storms moving across the area. I really don't have a computer to do this with right now, and I'm just being honest with you. So we'll give it a few more minutes to see here if it wants to load, but let's talk about the 7-day while I've got it pulled up. All right, today we've got showers and storms that are with us through the morning. This afternoon is trending drier. This afternoon and into, or rather tomorrow afternoon and into Wednesday, it's really warm. We're talking spring-like temperatures, low 80s, higher humidity. I do think there's a fog potential across the area. for our Tuesday and Wednesday. And then here we go this weekend. We've got parades happening, at least the Irish Channel Parade rolling for sure on Saturday. Weather could be a problem there again, and so we know that was already rescheduled from 2 weekends ago when we had bad weather. Well, we may be dealing with more scattered storms this weekend. Now, it's still a little too early to say for sure how that could impact our plans on Saturday, but that's our next feature that we're keeping a close eye on across the area. So just a lot going on with the weather over the next, well, 7 days. But luckily, today and really Saturday are the two big days that the storms could be an issue for the area here. So it is 9:04 here. If you're just joining me, I know we just sent out a push. If you're watching me on WWL Plus, we are tracking these heavy showers and storms move across the area. So far, we have not had any substantial severe weather reports in our local area, but we have had some reports coming in out of the Baton Rouge area of strong winds out into southwest Louisiana, Lake Charles. They were rocked by these storms earlier this morning, so they were first up for the rough weather that was moving across the area earlier this morning. Now these line of storms are coming on through, and you're seeing a black screen there because my computer is rebooting, so hopefully we can get it up here and running for you this morning. These showers and storms are, well, tapering off for parts of the area. Like if you're in Thibodaux and Houma right now, it's nice and quiet, but what I'm going to show you here in a couple minutes when I get my radar going, there is another storm and several more storms forming behind that main line, and so Morgan City is about to get more rain. Thibodaux and Houma moving through. So we're working to get another source pulled up for you this morning that you can actually see radar. There you go. Okay, now I have something to talk about. All right, so our showers and storms, that's the one I'm talking about, back towards Morgan City this morning. That is producing heavy rain. It's not severe, but it is producing heavy rain. That's going to continue to move towards Morgan City, Houma, and Thibodaux. But more so right now, as you can see, towards Slidell, Covington, Picayune, it is coming down, and it's coming down very heavy across the causeway this morning. That is going to linger for a little while longer, and so if you are trying to get across the causeway, it's still open. I got Leah sitting here keeping an eye on things for me, and I don't know if we can go back to my Weather 1 control room here. I finally got it up and rolling here, so I can control this radar that I'm dealing with on Weather 1. And so you're seeing a wide view of the storms right now that are traveling across mostly the North Shore. These storms really did just skirt the South Shore. So there's a closer look. You can see there from Slidell down I-10 into New Orleans. Now, if you're watching me in New Orleans or in Jefferson Parish, it's raining pretty good up in City Park, Gentilly right now, and into parts of Metairie, but we're just getting the tail end of this. So this is not severe. This is not going to cause us any flooding issues, but there is some lightning and thunder, so don't be standing outside in that mess. Now, up here on the North Shore and into Slidell, there's a really healthy cell that's moving right over Pearl River at this hour. This storm, you see those bright pinks there, this could be producing some hail. We can turn on our hail tracker here, and you can see we could be getting up to maybe the size of nickel. I'm not sure we're quite to the size of quarter with this, but nickel-size hail moving through parts of the North Shore around Pearl River, Hickory. Just on the northern side of Slidell is where we're seeing these, maybe some hailstones. This is going to continue to move towards maybe Stennis. So if you're in Stennis or at Stennis, you may be getting some hail here pretty soon. These storms have been moving fairly quickly. Earlier they were moving at 70 miles an hour. They slowed down to 50 miles an hour, which is still very quick. And so it's not lingering long, at least the hail, but once the heaviest rain moves through, there's still quite a bit of light rain to moderate rain falling behind this. So if you're in Tangipahoa Parish, it's been raining on you now for a couple of hours. And then behind it, still some storms firing up. So in the metro area, what we're going to be watching the rest of the morning is any additional storms that try to form behind this main complex that moved through this morning. And so your storms that are south of Lafayette, near New Iberia, getting into the Atchafalaya Basin, down here into St. Mary Parish, these storms are going to lift east and push east. So I put it in motion. You can see they're going to be traveling east. So we may see a little bit of a lull, but then more scattered storms trying to move through the South Shore areas later this morning. So that's why we're going to keep our chance of rain fairly high the rest of the morning. Here's an hour-by-hour forecast for today. That chance for storms is quite high through at least lunchtime. I do think lunchtime hours could still be impacted by these scattered showers and thunderstorms, and then once we get into this afternoon, it looks like things begin to taper off. Just a low chance of a lingering sprinkle or a light shower into the evening hours. But overall, it should improve as we go into this afternoon. Now, the severe weather threat, it's not off the charts, but they did upgrade it to a level 2 out of 4. 2 out of 5, excuse me, just because the storms were more widespread. These thunderstorms have been mainly wind makers has been the primary concern. When you look at the individual threats, though, the tornado threat, the hail threat are not zero. It just seems like the winds have been the greater concern across the region here as the storms have passed on through. So the severe weather threat, it's certainly not off the charts, but you can see there the wind threat is the highest thing. What you're seeing in red there is a higher risk. Now the tornado risk is the lowest out of all of the threats, and it's we categorize this by percentages. So we're only sitting at a 2% chance of a tornado forming within 25 miles of your specific location. Now 2% chance of a tornado is greater than what it typically is on any given day, but the threats overall are rather limited. This is going to be for some isolated strong wind gusts and maybe some street flooding, which is something that, we're not immune to down here, and we know it can happen fairly easily. Luckily, with these storms passing through the metro, we do not have a immediate concern for flooding in the metro. Now, if you're in Slidell, I do want to keep an eye on areas like Gauze Boulevard, these typical spots. Leah's going to check in to see what some of those typical spots in Slidell look like right now, and because we know those spots can go underwater fairly quickly in and around Gauze Boulevard and in the Old Town area, you can really see water collect. So far, I haven't had any reports of significant flooding or any significant street flooding across the region, but we know how quickly that can change. Getting some updates from Pearl River County. We were just talking about that sale, Pearl River, the community in St. Tammany. They had pea-size hail, and so think about pea-size hail. Well, you know what the size of a pea is. Sonic ice, something like that, would be a good estimate on how big the hail would be. They also had some hail reported over in Gulfport this morning, and so there's some hail in some of these thunderstorms. It hadn't gotten much bigger than pea size the way it stands right now. And so these strong storms are going to continue to move through the region. If you are watching me in Slidell right now, it is coming down. I would not get out and about in this for a little while longer. The causeway. We're moments away from seeing improvements on the causeway. It's been torrential rain, and so that's... Yeah, and Leah's saying it is taking longer to get across the causeway naturally. I mean, the rain's coming down. You're going to be forced to slow down, and it's pouring. And it's like that on I-10 if you're crossing from Slidell into New Orleans East. Don't recommend that path. Now, I-55 is a much better commute. If you've got to get down here, 55 is going to be your best bet. Come in on the spillway here. The rain is wrapped up there. But I-10, the rain from Slidell down to the New Orleans East, it's coming down heavy. And then that little core of hail we've been tracking, it was probably pea to maybe dime size, I would imagine, is getting ready to move towards Stennis, and it's going to pass near I-10 there in Mississippi. A little bit further down the line that could see some of these smaller hailstones would be areas like the Kill, Diamond Head, and anywhere in between Stennis and the Kill. Fairly sparse community because of the buffer zone there with Stennis, but if you're out and about in those spots, that's where we're at least seeing some of that pea size and dime size hail reported. If you're up on the North Shore, it's still just really a light to moderate rain for most areas that are away from Slidell, so Washington Parish into Tangi, you're getting a light to moderate rain, but the worst of it has passed you. If you're down here on the South Shore, it still looks like the worst is now along the lakefront from Gentilly out to UNO. The lakefront at the airport is raining pretty good, and then up into the Little Woods and out into New Orleans East, you're getting some heavy showers too. But other than that, so far, the storms, they've been somewhat behaved. The worst of it was over towards Baton Rouge at about 7:30 this morning when we saw the wind gusts to 78 miles an hour is what it was recorded, and so that was a significant wind gust. Now this is what we're watching for the secondary round of scattered storms. Also something interesting, I want to put this in motion because we had a wake low form. And what a wake low is, well, it's a low that forms in the wake of the storm. So as the storms pass, it releases enough heat and low pressure forms. And so as this low pressure begins to form, it's forming right in here, and that's going to increase the winds across the area. So we do have a wind advisory that's been issued for the entire area. Even when it's not raining, it's going to be breezy through the remainder of the morning into the afternoon, gusting maybe 40, 45 miles an hour at most. Now that's outside of the thunderstorms. Your thunderstorms can produce the stronger wind gusts. So while we get the first little round out of here pretty soon, we're going to be watching these sails back to Lafayette and Morgan City. I'll have to get a speed on how fast they're moving. Actually, let's clock it right now and see how fast they're moving and how quickly they could be in the metro area. If they continue at their same path, they're probably moving at about 45 miles an hour. Yeah, that's a good guess. And so we'll put a track on this, moving at roughly 45 miles an hour. That would put them closer to southeast Louisiana. We'll track this one specific cell, moving to the east. Let's just say it continues. You're talking about that moving in after the 11 a.m. hour in the immediate metro. So it's still probably an hour and a half to 2 hours from, if it were to make it to New Orleans, we could see that one. And so we're still going to keep our rain chances elevated through at least lunchtime. There's just going to be some breaks mixed in. Also, if you're watching us down in Houma and Thibodaux, this little cell that popped up right over Morgan City and Patterson probably has some hail in it too. You can see some of those darker pinks, or those pinks and purples popping up. That's more than likely dime size, maybe even a little bit bigger into nickel size hail. That's going to be passing through St. Mary Parish. Putting it in motion, you can see the movement of this. And I'm analyzing this just with you. So it's got east movement. We'll say at about 45 miles an hour is the average speed. We'll put it off towards the east here, and that's approaching the Houma area by around 10 a.m. So in the next 45 minutes, you could see this heavy storm pushing through parts of Terrebonne and Lafourche. This also includes Terrebonne. I know you're not included on the graphic there, but maybe closer to 10 a.m. there, you've got some of these heavier showers and storms pushing through. And so while we see this first little batch move out of the metro, it is coming down in Slidell. Street flooding certainly could be an issue arising in Slidell in those typical spots that seem to collect water a little bit faster than the other spots. This will more than likely be wrapping up in the next 30 minutes. Slidell will start to see some relief from the heaviest of the rain. Tremendous amount of lightning and thunder as well. And so if you do lose power, remember you can always stream us on our app on the WWL Plus and WWLTV.com, the WWL app. We've got so many ways for you to watch us nowadays. Or maybe on Facebook or YouTube, we often stream these too. So there's many ways you can stream us if your power does go out. But that's what we're tracking here at 9:16 this morning on your Monday, starting off a bit stormy. We'll be tracking these additional storms. Alexandra just got in here. She's tracking it with me. We will be following these to see if they do try to work into the metro. The severe weather threat, once again, is on the lower side, but one or two storms could produce some gusty winds, 50, 60 miles an hour, maybe some hail up to the size of quarter, and then luckily that tornado threat is on the lower side of it all. But it's not zero. It doesn't take much to get a little spin-up tornado, or more specifically, sometimes it's a water spout that we really have to watch out for. So that's what we're going to be tracking for you the rest of your morning. And then by this afternoon, we're mostly dry, just a couple lingering showers possible. I'll show you some of our high-resolution models if you are getting out and about this afternoon. Here's our initial batch of showers and storms this morning. Once we get to around noon and 1 o'clock, things wind down. But this cool front that's moving in stalls out, and so we don't see that sweeping clearing line where you have a beautiful evening where it's cooler and breezy. It's probably going to stay rather muggy as that front stalls out, and then there may be an isolated shower on that front, but it doesn't look like a big deal. Looking at some of the reports coming in from St. Tammany, the fire districts there, they're really good about updating us. They've had wind gusts in between the 30-mile-per-hour range, so that's not significant, and we're not seeing significant power outages reported. It seems like those have been fairly isolated in nature. So far, a lot of the storms have been behaving with regard to wind and hail, but they have been producing really heavy rain. So the big thing is we're watching out for, as we often do, is the street flooding potential as these storms creep on through the North Shore, St. Tammany, and now move into South Mississippi. So if you're watching us in Hancock County, you're just getting started. You still have probably another hour or so of some heavy rain that could lead to some isolated flooding. If you're watching us in Tangi, still raining, but the worst is past you. Same thing in Washington Parish, the worst is past you. And for everyone but Slidell, the worst is past you. It's still moving off to the east there. And then across the lake, we've got some heavy rain moving out towards Lake Catherine, Venetian Isles, and probably going to stay north of St. Bernard Parish. If you're in St. Bernard, you're high and dry right now. Not a thing going on. If you're in the Bayou parishes, not anything at the moment, but here comes that storm inbound from Morgan City. I'll put another track on this as it continues to show that signs that it's fairly healthy, with maybe some hail that's going to try to skirt the Houma and Thibodaux area this morning. I want to get Thibodaux included in this calculation. There we go. So you can see they're closer to Schriever and Thibodaux by 9:45, closer to Houma maybe by 10 a.m. or so. As you get the southern side of that sail, it's currently moving over Morgan City and surrounding areas. Could produce some small hail in Morgan City. certainly heavy rain and maybe some loud claps of lightning. And more so thunder moving on through. Now, if you're in the river parishes, Ascension and Assumption, we're watching this new sail that's popped up over the Atchafalaya Basin. That's going to continue to race off to the east. It'll be in St. James Parish pretty soon. So if you're watching us in Gonzales, not Gonzales, down into Convent and Gramercy there in St. James, those heavy showers and storms will be moving to the east there, roughly 45 miles an hour. That would put it in your area closer to, let's get you a track as well. closer to the 10:20, 10:30 hour. It would be moving more so through the river parishes, and then closer to Laplace maybe by the 10:45 hour. So in the next hour and 30 minutes or so, could have another thunderstorm moving through the Laplace region. So not done just yet. That is an overview of what we got going on. If you're just joining me, I'll give you a quick preview of the 7-day forecast. These storms will be with us, at least scattered in nature through the rest of the morning. By this afternoon, things are winding down, and then as we head into the rest of this week, I hope you're ready for some warm weather, a little bit muggy. We're probably going to have some patchy fog too with the warm weather moving in, and rain chances look very isolated through the work week. This weekend, though, unfortunately, our next storm system takes shape. That could bring us a decent chance of rain on Saturday. Saturday's Irish Channel Parade, we got a lot going on. We also have to vote Saturday if you haven't early voted, and so really watching that forecast closely. We don't want the Irish Channel Parade postponed or delayed again, because it already was, and so we will follow that and keep you updated on the timing. Still a little too early to say for sure for parade organizers how Saturday's going to play out. Who knows? Maybe the storm system's delayed or pushes in early enough that we can squeeze the parade in, but we just don't know at this point. Something we'll certainly be monitoring for you. But I want to thank you for joining me here on all of our streaming services on WWL+. Of course, we have much more updates for you through the day. Alexandra is in. She will have an update for you on the noon show, whether you're watching on TV or on WWL+ or our other services. And she'll keep you updated, and we will have much more for you. If any additional updates are needed, we will let you know. And if anything bad pops up, we'll be on Channel 4 keeping you updated there. Thanks so much for joining me this morning.